Hi, welcome back. Hi, welcome back to weekly, I used to call it weekly Sunya. I guess I can call it that again. Sunya is the name of my website. Weekly numerological updates, and I also do monthly and yearly and other significant dates. So this week we're working with a 22 frequency. So if you watch my June update, I mentioned it towards the end, and this video is done after the full blue moon on May 31st, but that was a very auspicious day. And if you want to know more about what I said about it, you can look at that video. But I do want to talk about the 22 because even though the 22 was part of that blue moon and that significant day in Tibetan Buddhism called Sagadawa, where everything is amplified and like tenfold, millionfold of whatever you're putting out into the universe. May it come back to you, and may it also be the blessing and the goodness for others. So, okay, but you know, we can always just take the energy of that and move it right into this week. It's really beautiful. The 22 is a master number. And why do I say that? Because it's 2 11s, right? Just like the 33 is 3 11s. Even if you get the 22 in other calculations, it still is going to be the 22. And they would recognize it, at least in this numerology system, that it stays the 2 11s. And they call it the divine visionary number. So what do I mean by that? I mean, that sounds pretty great, right? Like divine vision. You know, like, come on, bring that down. I mean, it could be a big responsibility, so to have a divine vision. So, but it is called that. And because 11 is the number of your relationship to, in the old way, in the old language, they would call it the divine. I still like to call it that sometimes. I still like to use the old language, and I like to use the kind of more modern language, but meaning it's inspired from, you know, a higher realm, let's say. It's inspired from your from a place that is not only concerned with yourself, but also it would be to the benefit of all people. So when the divine vision comes, if it comes to you, and maybe you are a divine visionary, and maybe you'll become one, what that actually means is that you're going to manifest something in time and space, meaning in this dimension, not just thinking about it in your third eye. So those that have this number in their chart often have, depending on where it is in their chart, have brought in or contributed to the vision of something that's been very profound and very impactful on the planet. And maybe it's a really big thing, and maybe it could be like there's a place up the street where it's a holistic juice company, the orchard is there, and they organically grow, and they are, you know, having a vision that their juice is, you know, healing the planet, healing the earth, having, you know, sort of, I'm losing the word right now, but like good practices for their employees, like fair trade, fair employment, all those kinds of things. So the divine visionary number, I shared all that because it's different than just having a vision. Everybody has vision, right? Like everybody has it, and you can do practices to open yours up more. The energetic downloads that are coming, the way the energy of waves on the earth is like, it's spontaneously happening for a lot of people, so that's nice. You don't have to do as much work as I did in the old days. And then Right? So we do. You're like, oh, what do I want to eat? And you like visualize, I gotta go get a sandwich or a hamburger, right? So we're all vision, and if you're not a divine visionary, don't feel less than, or there's nothing wrong with you. Not everybody. That's not everybody's destiny. But what we can do, what all of us can do, is hold the vision. And I think, most of us have held a vision of how we want to see the planet. What would our world look like if, we could just wave a magic wand? And that is a really nice vision to hold. Even if you don't really participate in it, it's just holding the frequency of that, because I'm pretty sure it's probably alike. Like, we want more love, we want more peace, right? We want more understanding, and that's a nice vision to hold. But the divine visionary and the 22 actually bring it in time and space, because you do add the 2 and 2 together. It's 4. 2 is the number of relationships, working with people, so it's usually a bigger thing, including more and more people, and kind of and 4 is the number of the neutral mind. So neutral mind is something I'll do a video on at a different time, to talk about these 3 gears of the mind. There's actually 81 facets of the mind, but that's, getting way complex because we're already too much in our mind already, which is why I make very short videos and try to keep the information edited down, so we're able to use our mind and not be in overwhelm. So that's the number for this week. And 22, 2 11s. And I don't think I explained what 11 is. So at least 11 in the numerology that I've been using for over 30 years. So 11 is, you don't break the 11 down. Like certain numbers you add together. You don't break the 11 down. The 11 is the relationship between the finite part of you and the infinite part of you. So when the infinite part of you, right, like if you just choosing to believe that, and people call the infinite their essence, or some people call it a soul, some people call it, I don't know, but like that infinite part where there isn't any limitation is inside of you, and it's also like outside of you, right? There's this infinite light, this infinite vast universe, okay? And then there's the finite part, which is like our mind and our body, and like what we're doing down here, and how, we have a lot of limitations. So when the finite part of you and the infinite part of you come into balance, into harmony, then, right, it's like a relationship, right? The 1 + 1 is 2, relationship, the 1 and the 1. Right? And it's always kind of moving, but when it comes into that harmony, we get, right, a kind of space between the polarities of life. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain more about it at another video. And then with the master number, if you have that relationship, right, between the finite and the infinite, you get the neutral mind, right? There's like a space, and your mind has that space where you're like, oh, I'm kind of outside the finite, and I can be with my infinite. Okay, so that's cool. And it feels really good. All right, so that's the 22. If you have time to spend with your neutral mind, it's also connected to the heart chakra. Again, more information another time. But just, yeah, hold the vision for how we want to see the world. That has an effect, believe it or not. You have an effect. So that's all for this week. Comment, question, like. I always say like because I think it helps the algorithm. And thank you so much for being here with me, and I will see you soon.